Good morning, everybody. I'm Olivia from DIA, and I'm joined today by Campbell from
Good morning.
GoRoadie. Hello. So we'd, warm welcome on this lovely, hopefully sunny day where all of you are. It certainly is for us. So good morning. We've still got a few people joining, but we will make a start momentarily. I just wanted to make sure everybody is familiar with their Q&A and the chat box and things like that. So along the bottom of your screen, you should see chat and you should see Q&A. So you can click on those, open them up and ask questions in there if you'd like to. So have a little practice now. Make sure that you can put a message in there. Can you see us okay? Can you hear us okay? Hello, good morning, Barry. He's put it in the chat. Can you just clarify you can see and hear Campbell and I okay? And also see the screen. You should be seeing the leveraging apps and automation screen. Okay, brilliant. Good morning. Thank you, Tony. Barry, yeah, all good. Can see, can hear you. Lovely. Superb. Okay, so you seem to be using the chat. That's brilliant. Hello, good morning, everybody. Okay, so, right, let's make a start then. Are you okay, Campbell?
Absolutely great, Olivia. Totally great.
Okay then. So I'm Olivia from DIA. I deal with the training courses, CPD, and I deal with like membership in terms of help desk. So we're here for you, all your DIA members, for any help and support and things along those lines, as well as your CPD needs. Campbell, I'm going to pass over to you to do your introductions and then to make a start.
No problem. So I am Campbell. I work for GoRoadie. I've been with the team there for about 7 months. I'm the head of customer success, customer support, whichever you want to label me as. My background has always been in customer service, whether it's been retail background or otherwise. But I've always been really and kind of passionate about the role technology can play in not only improving customer experience, but also driving efficiency in any business that I've kind of worked in the past. So a little bit of background on GoRoadie. So we started about 7-8 years ago as a referral scheme to help learners find instructors and match people and almost give a little bit of a boost of income to instructors. But we quickly noticed an inconsistency in how services were being delivered, and also knew that technology and apps were becoming an increasing part of day-to-day life for learners. So, the team really saw and felt that there were areas where technology could help streamline instructor processes, and they set about designing and building tools to help with that. The clear thing about today is this is not an advert for GoRoadie as much as you're seeing my face and I work for them. This session is about demystifying technology. In my role in the company, I speak to instructors on a day-to-day basis, dozens of instructors, and there is still a little bit of trepidation and fear, I would say, in the industry around taking on technology and some of the tools that are out there. But hopefully through today, we'll build a picture of why it's really important to get on board with technology and automation, and also how it can help enhance your business. So it's not just about showing you the tools that are out there. It's really about explaining the why behind it and how it can help you on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
So hopefully throughout the day, Olivia, you can kind of keep tabs on the chat. Is that right? Yeah. And
yes,
if there's any questions that come up, feel free to jump in.
People ask you questions of, any questions you got for Campbell, we'll ask
Absolutely.
away.
If anything big or small, then just jump in whenever you feel the need. There'll be a few points throughout the session today where I do ask specific questions. I'm not going to labour the point or wait for lots of responses. Hopefully we can just collate some, and then we'll maybe pick out some key bits if they come up. So on the agenda for today, first and foremost, I'm going to tell you lots of things that you already know. So I'm going to bring to life some of the challenges that I hear from instructors on a day-to-day basis, and build a bit of a picture of the learners that we are teaching on a day-to-day basis as well. So who is the learner of today in 2025? And then we'll go into what automation can do to help some of the things that we've spoken about in the first part of the session, and ultimately the power of apps and putting your business essentially in your pocket. And again, the goal of today is to demystify technology, to make you really confident in getting started. It's not about giving you all of the specific tools today. It's about showing you the reasoning behind why this is such a key part of a lot of businesses now, and why it can really help elevate your brand and your business to the next level. So first and foremost, it'd be great for those of you in the chat and those of you who are participating to just have a little reaction. You can hopefully react, but just by raising your hand if you've already gone digital. So a lot of instructors I'll speak to might be using some elements of technology on a day-to-day basis, but it would be great to get a little pulse check and either pop it in the chat or raise your hand if you're already using technologies just now. So let's be honest, for driving schools just now, running a driving school can come with a lot more demands than ever. You're juggling admin, managing diaries, handling cancellations and payments, all while trying to deliver great lessons and instruct the next generation of safe and competent drivers. And learners are expecting more and more from you as instructors as well. They expect faster responses, more modern systems, and they want everything to be instant at the touch of a button. And at the same time, new instructors and schools are popping up offering slicker, tech-enabled services. So competition among instructors is intensifying, and it's more crucial than ever to differentiate your services and operate efficiently. So if you're still doing everything manually, it is getting harder to keep up in the industry. So what are some of the common challenges that I hear on a day-to-day basis? So again, no-shows and late cancellations are still a huge pain. They cost you time and they cost you money. And then there's the admin side. So trying to keep on top of messaging new pupils and track new inquiries, shuffling your scheduling around when plans change, and even manually chasing payments to keep up with what's paid or what progress someone's made can be a really difficult and challenging experience for a lot of instructors out there. It is a lot, and more often than not, it'll eat into your weekends, it'll eat into your evenings, and again, leave you less free time to focus on what you do best, which is teaching learners. Even if it doesn't eat into your time too much, it can eat into your energy levels. And again, if you're struggling to chase up inquiries or deal with payments and things, this can just make it harder to deliver a really great service to learners. So again, in the chat, it'd be great to hear from you. What are your biggest headaches right now? So I'm pretty confident that most of you will have very similar experiences. So if you've got any thoughts or anything that really causes you a big headache, whether it's time draining or energy draining, it'd be great to hear some of these in the chat as well. So later we'll explore how apps and automation can help solve some of these issues. But again, it's great just to get your kind of more common experiences as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not working out on the roads like these guys at the moment, but I'm still an ADI. But issues that I have faced before, just to give people a chance to put in the chat, things like just having a follow-up to confirm appointments, because every now and again you get somebody who may forget they got a lesson, you turn up, and then that's money wasted, and then those sorts of things. So I like the fact that I believe, and you'll get onto this later on, Campbell, but where you can have an automated system that will just fire out, hey, you've got a lesson today at X amount at X time. Things like that, just little reminders, little friendly things to just keep them engaged and informed.
Absolutely, it's probably the biggest headache that we hear about, certainly in our company, is the difference that having those automatic reminders can make, and just kind of again keeping that customer and that student, that learner engaged either before the lesson or after they've done as well.
Yeah, sorry. Terry's just put on the Q&A, payment and late cancellations.
Yeah.
His biggest headache. And I
Again,
think
anything related to money.
Pain.
Yeah, anything related to money or your income is what's going to have the biggest impact, isn't it, really? So
of course,
anything we can do to mitigate that or make that a bit smoother and a better experience is going to be a really quick win.
Yeah, absolutely. Tony has put on there, Anthony has put on there, diary control, as I'm still training, so I'm running with a secondary employment. So a lot of times I blanked out matching the free slots with students.
Yep.
Um,
Really common one for PDIs for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And with ADIs as well, it can be if you're
Yeah.
using a manual diary or something like that, where they don't know your availability, or you haven't made that clear, or they've forgotten it, that type of thing. Then it's actually, it is such a pain, because you someone books something in, and oh dear, it's then you got to try and politely unravel it or go along with it and
Yeah.
change your plan. So it can get ever so messy.
And it's that human error element, isn't it, as well, Olivia? It's
Yeah,
we're not all perfect. And I think the things that technology can do a lot better,
yeah,
it's really great to utilize some of that so that you just don't have to think about it. You've got so much to juggle, so much on your plate. It's really, really difficult to keep track of everything.
yeah.
Especially when you've got different communication channels and all this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, so Lee is also seconded that lesson diary planning, keeping lessons in the same area to cut
yeah,
travel time. Um, uh, Also, I mean, I've got a quick question on that, just as an
sure.
extension from Lee's question. I've not seen use your app as yet, but can you set your working area, for example, with like a job, like I cover these towns or these postcodes. Can you
Yeah,
set that?
I mean, a lot of the products and apps, specifically ours as well, that are out there, let you do that. And specifically, this becomes really important for bigger schools, not just instructors, but multi ADI schools where they want to give inquiries to certain locations. They don't want people traveling halfway across a city to pick up a pupil. So
Mhm.
yeah, those options are really really helpful. Again, it's just that
Yeah,
other little thing that can give a little bit more of a professional experience and
yeah.
a slicker experience as
There's
well. So yeah,
There's just one or two little comments. Anthony
sure.
said, "I won't book unless it's paid for," which absolutely.
Yep, absolutely,
We've
100%.
we're said on that, because chasing payments, uh, and sometimes you never get the payment back.
Yeah,
So it's a real pain. So, and for a lot of services now, you book online, you can't book it until you pay for it. And
exactly.
that's almost
It's the
like a
common.
norm now, isn't it?
It's just the norm now, exactly. And I think no matter what service you go with, there's so many services that are not, specific all-in-one packages like GoRoadie that allow you to just do that specific element. And we'll definitely go into that a little bit more detail later on in the slide deck about just how you can pick and choose if you don't want an overall experience. Some of these little kind of key tools that you can use to just automate certain parts of your business as well. Things like
Yeah.
payments that can really help.
Sorry, are you okay? Me just one or two other quick
Yeah, yeah,
ones
of
on
course,
here.
absolutely.
Sorry, eating
No, you
into your
sure?
time.
Not at all.
So Gordon has said already using GoRoadie for reminders, which is great. Pupils love it. So
Cool.
that's superb to hear. Thank you, Gordon. Bob, issue for me is learners using a wide variety of messaging systems to contact you: WhatsApp,
Yes.
SMS, text,
Yep.
email, Instagram. Problem is keeping track of how they've contacted you and keeping track of conversations. Yeah,
Yeah.
can
And
feel that one.
specifically on that point as well, I would say that, some of the best schools, even smaller schools out there now, are really utilizing social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. So that's three communication channels just there that you're potentially taking inquiries from. So finding a way to streamline all that it's much more of a headache than what it was,
Mm.
20 years ago when you just would have got a phone call or even a text about something, from a website. So yeah, that's a really, really common one that we
On
hear a lot as well.
on phone calls, Martin has said, main issue for me dealing with phone calls, inquiries that happen while I'm in a lesson. So your phone's on
Mm.
silent or it's off or whatever. And then, you've got a full diary booked out. You haven't got much time. We can't be doing phone calls whilst in the car. And so, yeah, it's having that time. It's a real drain on your time and resource to try and deal with that, because you don't want to be late for your next lesson, but you've got somebody urgently needs a call back, or,
Yep,
you've got a couple of new
100%.
inquiries. So things like that, where this can help. I'll be
Yep,
quiet now.
absolutely.
We've
Not
addressed
at
them all
all.
so far.
That's all good. That's perfect. It's great to see so many people with so many different varied thoughts, and again, a lot of consistency between that. Yeah. So let's build a little picture of today's learners. And again, this is stuff you'll already know, but um, everybody who's learning to drive now, most of them, sorry, have grown up with a smartphone in their hands. So I think the latest Ofcom poll puts it at nearly 100%. It's something like 98.9% of
Wow.
people aged 16 to 25 use a smartphone and own a smartphone, sorry. So they're booking, as you've alluded to, food, taxis, even their haircuts, all through apps. They get confirmation instantly with these, and they have everything at their fingertips. And as instructors and school owners, we're not just teaching people how to drive, we're also delivering a service. And that's really important to remember, because the expectation around that service has shifted dramatically over the past few years. And on top of that, it's harder to engage with learners nowadays. We find this a lot. Attention span has probably gone down quite a bit. And if you're not meeting them where they are, it can instantly place you at a bit of a disadvantage, not only in terms of competition, but just engaging that learner as best as you possibly can.
Yeah.
So again, reinforce this, just everyone now, all learners have a mobile first mindset. When they want to book a lesson or start driving, they'll pull out their phone. They don't want to wait until someone picks up the phone or replies to a text. They're used to handling everything digitally. So that's bookings, making payments, and messaging all through one platform. And again, if we're not there with them digitally, there's a risk we'll be seen as out of date or even hard to reach. So young people are increasingly uncomfortable with talking on the phone. And this makes them a lot less likely to respond to calls or voicemails. Again, it's that whole reminder piece. And on the flip side, they can be very quick to leave negative reviews if they've had a bad experience. And this can be very public, quite damaging for businesses and instructors as well.
Sure, yeah.
So again, what do learners expect? So they don't just want this tech, they expect it. They want to book a lesson and get confirmation straight away. They expect reminders. They expect to not have to chase instructors. And many learners, and even their parents as well, want to be able to track their progress and payments clearly. Again, this gives them confidence in you as a professional and as a business. And when you deliver a modern, tech-savvy experience, it just reinforces that you're running a business that they can trust. So if we have a look at the kind of traditional versus the modern experience from a pupil point of view, then on the left, we've got that traditional experience that many of us have offered and experienced over the years. So texting back and forth, waiting for confirmation, tracking payments and progress all manually. It can feel quite informal, which is not always a bad thing. It's important to get your personality across, but there is a risk within that of just appearing a bit outdated and unprofessional. And contrast that with a more modern experience. So again, this is what learners today increasingly expect. So it's everything handled digitally, instantly, and in one place. And again, this is not just about making your life easier. It's about matching the expectation of learners who live their lives through apps and technology. If your school doesn't offer this kind of experience, there's a good chance that they'll choose one who does. And on top of that, from our data shows us that we see learners are willing to pay a premium when schools do offer a more modern digital experience. So actually, a lot of the time, it can help increase your revenue as well. And again, it's really, really important to say that this isn't about replacing you or making things super clinical or taking away from that personal human element that makes you a great driving instructor or a great ADI. Learners still need to feel supported by a real person. They still need that guidance, reassurance, and a friendly voice to help them feel confident and build confidence on the road. But what technology can do is sharpen and enhance that experience. It can remove a lot of the repetitive admin that you deal with day to day, give learners the clarity and convenience that they expect, and allows you as an ADI to focus more on what you're best at, which is teaching. So your professionalism, your attitude, and your personality, they can still be at the front and center of the experience, but technology can just help it shine through more clearly within every interaction. So what do we really mean by automation then? So we're not just talking about robots or AI taking over the world. We're talking about really basic things where software can do admin tasks for you behind the scenes. This means that things like booking confirmation can go out without you lifting a finger. It means pupils get reminders, your calendar is updated, payments are all logged. All of these things can be handled automatically in the background. And again, this not only saves you time, but it reduces human error. It's really difficult to keep track of all these things, run a business, and keep track of where every learner is at in their experience. And again, it just gives a really consistent, smooth experience to your pupils as well. So again, it'd be great to hear from you guys, literally just how much time do you spend on admin every week? We hear from instructors some horror stories is what I would call them, of people spending hours and hours on evenings or weekends, and increasingly so, I would say. So it'd be great to hear from you guys. What is your general routine? Do you spend an hour on a Sunday? Do you take half an hour a day? Do you try and manage it in between lessons? What's your general experience in there? And again, Olivia can hopefully keep track of some of the responses and chime in as they come in.
Shall do.
So let's look a little bit more practically then at some of the areas that we can automate and flush this out a little bit more. And then we can go into some of the actual tools and products that are out there that can help address some of these things in a little bit more detail. So it turns out quite a lot of the business of running a driving school can be automated. So obviously we've already mentioned booking and scheduling, sending lesson reminders is a massive one, and responding to new inquiries, collecting payments. It can all run automatically in the background. So for instance, one of the things that we developed at GoRoadie a couple of years back, all based on instructor feedback, was in our inquiry manager tool. So this is a tool where send out a link to potential pupils through whatever medium whether it's Facebook or WhatsApp or the like. It'll collect all the information for you and allow you to manage those inquiries within a simple dashboard. But not only that, the system automatically checks up on them periodically. So every couple of weeks, we'll make sure that they're still looking for lessons, make sure that they've not found another instructor. So again, that just reduces the burden on you chasing up leads or potential inquiries that are no longer valid. Now, you can accomplish a lot of this with other tools as well, but for individual instructors, this is a great tool. But when you expand that out to larger schools that have upwards of a dozen instructors, this is a real game changer. You can be dealing with hundreds and hundreds of inquiries every week. And it's hard to see how schools like that would manage without tools like this in the background now.
Yeah.
And again, features like this don't stop you giving that personal touch if that's your style. Nothing stops you getting in touch with the customer. It just helps you refine inquiries and things. So a lot of this, again, is not about taking away from your personality. It's just automating those basic things in the background so you can give that a better experience. I'd be interested to see, have we got any responses on kind of just how long people are working and things?
David has said 2 hours minimum a day.
Wow, yeah.
And I can second that. When I was out teaching full time, easy, yeah. Usually all in one clump at the end of the day, but if you did have a quick break, then you can get some of it done. But
squeeze it in there.
Yeah, it just eats into your time, and it's time. Anthony said he also uses his QuickBooks works well for accounts and invoicing.
Great.
So that it's another great example of using tech. Martin said generally spend a little time each evening, maybe up to an hour, preparing for lessons the following day, reviewing, updating my schedule for the week ahead, and that's with using an app already.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, so you can see the difference even with some apps, depending on the functionality and also how simple they are to use, but there's still a lot of admin to do. So it's whatever you can do to kind of chip away at that time is really, really, really helpful.
I mean, saying about reviewing and updating, preparing lessons. So yes, that needs that human interaction, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You need to review each of where your pupils are, and go from there. So that is going to eat time, and that's with an app. So, okay. Terry said, I tend to check mail and messages in between lessons at the beginning and end of each day. Often answer specific questions out of hours, provide personal service. Rebecca, where's that gone? I don't spend much time on admin, do it as a go, but I have 2 jobs. Gordon, love the diary management tool. If I get a text, I just send my link over. They fill it in, then review, then decide if I want to be added to my waiting list. App manages my waiting list. That sounds really good. So
that has been a game changer. I mean, that's only been out now for maybe not even a couple of years, and it can be an absolute game changer if you're dealing with multiple inquiries every day that come through. So let's go into a little bit more detail on what this looks like in practice then. So again, we know from our data, and other companies that do like us will be similar, that instructors report up to a 45% reduction in no-shows when they use automatic reminders. Booking is much smoother because students can you can actually offer slots in some instances to students that they can confirm instantly. Payments can be made up front at the time of booking. So again, there's no more chasing payments or can you pay me today texts. And for younger learners and their parents, seeing progress updates builds trust and keeps everyone in the loop. And again, that automated inquiry management piece minimizes follow-up on invalid inquiries. And again, this is not about adding to your workload. You can give this elevated experience by doing less work because all of this is happening automatically in the background. So we'll go into a few details about some of the dedicated apps that are out there that pull a lot of this together. But as we've already heard, there are a lot of products and tools that are either free to use or have a really low barrier of entry that can help kind of automate some of these elements as well. So don't have to jump straight into an all-in-one platform, although that could often be the easiest route to go down. Google Calendar is obviously a great tool, but there are so many tools built into that system that are underutilized to help set reminders. You can watch a quick YouTube tutorial on how to get the most out of Google Calendars, and you'll be quite surprised at how it can help, with things like reminders and all that kind of stuff. We've seen people in the past use Google Forms or a platform like Jotform to collect pupil info at the inquiry stage and just help streamline that whole process. Again, tools like SumUp or QuickBooks can really help streamline that financial side of things. So with SumUp and Stripe, you can take payments in car through your phone, securely through your mobile device, and even something as simple as WhatsApp. You can get a business version of WhatsApp that can help create quick reply messages and scheduled follow-ups. So these are really good options to look at to help you get you started and can often be set up in a matter of minutes. There's so many tools out there where you've got great instructional videos on YouTube and lots of guides out there to help you. So again, the barrier of entry to these tools is really, really low. So let's talk a little bit more detail about some of the more dedicated apps for our industry then, and some of the features that you can expect from them. So there's obviously ourselves, GoRoadie, there's Total Drive, My Drive Time, and there is a host of other apps out there that do very similar things, albeit in different packages. But the main thing with all these apps is it puts your entire business in your pocket. So whether you're on the move between lessons or off-site entirely, you can have the ability to see and adjust your diary in real time. You can confirm bookings, handle reschedules, and get no-show results the moment they happen without waiting to get back to a desktop or sift through voicemails. Again, it's all about you staying in control, even when you're not sitting at your desk. And for instructors, apps slash the admin burden. There's no more juggling dozens of message threads, again, across multiple channels, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, WhatsApp, text. They can coagulate all this into one easy-to-use experience. And there's no more manually chasing payments as well. You can get a clear color-coded diary view with a lot of these apps, auto-sent reminders that reduce no-shows again, and in-app invoicing so you know exactly who's paid. And all of this translates to fewer interruptions, less stress, and more focus on what you do best, which is teaching. And there's even the potential with some apps to go white label. So that means having your own school's branding front and center. You can have your own app on the iOS store, your own app on the Android store. And that just helps elevate and bring another new level of professionalism and deliver a real premium experience. And again, these are tools that just would not have been possible 20 years ago. If I go back to when I first started driving, and I know a lot of you can't believe that was over 20 years ago, these tools just would have cost thousands and thousands and thousands, but the barrier to entry to them now is so low. It's so easy to get involved with very, very minimal cost, often free to use, free trials and things like that, which we'll go into detail in a little bit of time. But from a learner's point of view, from a student's point of view, they love the convenience. So they love to be able to get instant confirmation and not have to wait during office hours to get confirmation on a lesson. They love the fact that they can get reminders through their phone because, again, they live on their phones. They run every element of their life through their phone, so it's never without them. There's less chance of them forgetting a lesson. So, for instance, in GoRoadie, we'll send an email ahead of time for students to check into that lesson and asks them what their goal is for that lesson. So again, it just helps keep them engaged before that lesson even starts, to help them get thinking about what do they want to achieve, so that they're in the right mindset for what they're going to do on that day. They can also see how many lessons they've done and kind of track their overall progress and see what elements they've mastered so far. So again, it's that whole gamification piece of wanting to get better and seeing their progress in real time.
Mm. Mm.
Many apps let instructors share relevant resources as well with pupils. So whether that's something as simple as a link to book their practical test, or a YouTube video on maneuvers. And again, all this can be viewed a lot of the time straight from within the app. And this isn't about taking away, again, the personal touch that you give. It's not about making them only experience this through their phone. They still need a confident instructor to make them feel safe and build their confidence on the road. But apps can help engage with today's learners. If you're meeting them where they are, then you're only ever going to enhance the service that you already give.
Can I just ask a
Absolutely.
question? Because Corinne has come up with a really good question, actually. She said, can the progress tracker be customized, or is it just set at those particular headings?
Sure. So I think different products out there will do different things, but certainly in GoRoadie you can customize everything. So we have actually some schools that, for instance, have a syllabus that's per drive. So they almost have like specific lessons that they do, and they'll have lesson 1, lesson 2. Some of them will have, a section just for maneuvers, a section just for roundabouts, just for basic cockpit checks and all that kind of stuff. Most of the schools use very similar kind of syllabus and similar progress tracker, but in our app certainly it's all customizable, so that you can kind of again tailor it to what you do and how you currently operate and how you run your driving school. Again,
That's really good.
we'll go into detail about kind of how you should start thinking about what tools you are out there that are going to be right for you. But the thing I would always say is try and get something that's going to only enhance what you do. You don't want to completely change what's made you successful so far. So, you don't want to be tied into a certain box. Again, it's not just about making it clinical and robotic. It's about enhancing the experience that you already give to learners out there. So if we move on a little bit then, so what are the benefits for your overall brand and your overall school when this all comes together? So you can, from a business perspective, an app can elevate your brand. So it shows not only that you're using modern tools, but it gives every pupil the same seamless experience. You also get data insights as well. So things like peak booking times, average spend, so you can make smarter decisions about your business and keep track of your costs. And with white label or custom branding, there are options out there so that you can have your own branding on the App Store. And again, pupils like to share that with their friends. They'll be saying, oh, what's your driving schools app like, and things like that. And it just, again, helps create that professional outlook and that professional experience for them.
Yeah, that's really good to be able to white label it as well. That's a really nice option.
Again, if I go back to 15, 20 years ago, the options around this would just be null and void. There's not a chance that small independent ADIs or even 2-3 person schools would have been able to have their own app on app stores or develop apps that have this. But now there's so many products out there that put this straight in your hands with very minimal barrier to entry. So at GoRoadie, for example, we work with massive schools like Drive and LDC, so 200-300 instructors, but more and more and more we're seeing smaller local and regional schools that want to use apps and again want to brand them as themselves just to help them stand out a little bit and get that more premium experience. We even have a few schools that have literally only 1 or 2 instructors that have a branded app now on the App Store, and we're able to help facilitate that for them. And again, if you're an ADI that's taking on a PDI as well to work alongside you, it becomes exponentially harder to manage that student experience and make sure that they're getting the same experience that they would get from you. So apps can really help with the consistency of all of that.
Yeah.
So let's talk about a little bit about where you can begin then. So what I would always recommend is start by listing your biggest headaches. Again, start kind of by what we did at the start of the session. Think about what really is taking up your time, whether it's no-shows, whether payments are a real struggle or juggling reschedules, and sketch out your process. So look at from start to finish, from booking through to payment, what is the experience for you and what is the experience for the customer? And from there, you'll be able to find out where exactly automation can plug in and deliver the biggest bang for your buck almost, and the fastest wins. think about how much time you spend on each task and think about, okay, if I was to automate this process, how much time am I going to get back every week? Because again, if it was 2 hours a day, then that's 2 hours a day that could be either spent on lessons or spent, just relaxing yourself and giving you a bit of time back to get your energy levels back. And again, you might surprise yourself when you do this task about breaking down your flow, how quickly all these little minutes add up to an extra hour, an extra 2 hours, an extra 3 hours every week. And again, just imagine you had that time back to deliver another lesson or help grow your business.
Or
You'll
just have
quickly,
5 minutes to yourself as well. Sometimes you just
totally,
need that. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Just a bit of a download. You'll quickly be able to work out how cost efficient it could be as well. And again, it's about it, you should try and get into the granular detail. Take a bit of time, take half an hour out and really think about your business, think about what you offer and some of these areas that you can help automate.
Corinne, if you don't mind just
Sure.
chipping in there, so in terms of managing accounts, does GoRoadie do it, or do we still need to run something alongside? She said, I need to get my head around HMRC and, in terms
Sure.
of what they might require from self-employed people in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there are changes I think coming down the line with that. But I think yeah, from our perspective, there's a finances tab in the app, for instance, that you can manage all your costs, your mileage, and things like that. Track all your payments. So it's really easy to export that for an accountant if you've got an accountant, or if you manage your own accounts, self-serve
Yeah,
yourself. And a
I
lot
mean,
of apps are similar in that sense.
yeah, so there is an app, really good one, HMRC app, which are probably a
Mm,
lot of you
yep.
using already, very familiar with it. And that's really good because then you can just see, what you're owing and, just see a summary of everything and it all broken down. So that's really good as well.
Yeah, and
So,
with the HMRC as well, there are only certain kind of elements that they look at when you're doing your tax return at the end of the year. So, we for instance try to match those headings and make it super, super simple for ADIs to match across. So when they're putting in their accounts at the end of the year, it's a much easier process. But yeah, there's tools out there like QuickBooks as well that can really help with things like that. If you didn't go for an app or you didn't have that kind of all-encompassing experience that we at GoRoadie offer, there's lots of other tools out there that can help manage parts of that for you. And especially
okay.
that co-finances side can be a bit mystifying, especially, when you're an EDI, you start, just wanting to teach people how to drive, but you are a business owner at the end of the day, and a lot of
Yeah,
that comes part and parcel of the package, doesn't it? So,
it does.
oh, let's go back a little bit. So how to choose the right tool then? So again, not every app is built the same. So again, once you've done that flow of what's the flow from booking to payment, build a little feature checklist. So do you need in-app notifications? Do you need in-app payments? Are you going to be taking payments in car? Do you want payments to be handled separately? Do you need pupil dashboards? So have you got a PDI on? Do you have two or three other franchisees that work with you, that you would want to see and control their setup as well and their schedules? And the main thing for me is evaluate how easy the tool is to set up and use. The pricing models are all fairly consistent across the platforms in terms of they're quite transparent, but a lot of them will charge per lesson fees, per monthly fee. But just confirm that from the outset that it can grow with you. If your ambition is to take on a couple of PDIs or go into a franchise model eventually, then just make sure that the platform you choose at the start can grow with you and help facilitate that for you as well. The other thing is to make sure it ties into any systems you are already using that are working well for you. So that could be the calendar that you use. So does it have calendar sync? Maybe you've got a really popular Facebook page with thousands of subscribers and thousands of followers. If you get a lot of your inquiries through that, make sure you've got a system that can help handle inquiries through that platform if that's where you're getting the majority of your business already. And again, a lot of apps out there offer free trials, price reduction for PDIs. For instance, GoRoadie's free for PDIs, unlimited. So take advantage of that, but don't just download the app and forget about it. Whenever you try a tool, try and set aside 15, 20 minutes to actually sit down, familiarize yourself with it, and make sure you're getting the most of any free trial period. Because again, that's a really common thing that certainly we see in our businesses. People might download the app and maybe just forget about it or not give it the time, whereas they could be saving hours and hours and hours every week if they just, sat down and take the time to familiarize themselves with it. Again,
Exactly.
there's lots of guides out there to help as well.
There's a question from Martin. He said, how can an ADI assure the pupils that data held on them by a third-party app is secure and complies with data protection regulations?
Sure. So that's a really, really good point. And what I would kind of say to that is, what we find actually is when we speak to, or we hear stories about ADIs who have a manual process, and they might have a diary that's just sitting in the car, or they might have elements of human error within the process that they currently use. Whereas within a digital system, everything is automatically encrypted. And we legally obviously need to comply with data protection laws. So the good thing about that is it's very rare, but if you did ever have a people that wanted to see all their information or do a data protection request, then all that information is there straight away to be sent to them. And again, because it's held in a third-party system, we're responsible for that data and making sure that data is secured and protected. So again, it almost takes that off the hands of an ADI, because that's probably, specifically in the last 10 years, become a much more a bigger talking point, I suppose, is data protection and ensuring that all that data is encrypted. You've seen, some of the malware attacks and things like that, and I think people are right to be aware of those things, but I think it's really important that the app you choose is secure, encrypted, and makes that a real priority. Absolutely.
And where you see all these little red things on your phone come up that you need to do all these app updates and things like that, don't ignore them, do them, because they're often security features and enhancements as well, aren't they?
It's a really, really good point. Absolutely. And I think, again, not every app's built the same. So do your research, have a good look into that element of it, because it is, again, it's a really important part of it. I know that in GoRoadie we spent a lot of time making sure that everything we do is super secure. So yeah, massive importance that. So again, just to kind of round off some of the things we've talked about. So again, why does automation matter? First of all, it gives you valuable hours back every week. These are hours that you can spend teaching, marketing your school, or just simply switching off and relaxing. It also cuts down on avoidable mistakes. So things like double booking, forgetting to send reminders, which directly impact your bottom line, and by reducing no-shows and cancellations. Finally, it ensures that every student gets the same smooth professional experience every time. And automation can take care of all those repetitive tasks that drain your energy. So sending reminders again, logging payments, or answering the same frequently asked questions. You'll spend less time chasing payments or fielding last-minute texts, and more time focusing on what you do best, which is teaching. Plus, with a clear, up-to-date diary in your pocket, you can plan your days confidently rather than reacting to admin or firefighting. So again, it's just about slicking up the experience that you already give. And again, for today's learners and their parents, they almost expect that polished, tech-savvy experience, and automation helps you deliver that. Instant confirmations, automated reminders, and clear progress dashboards all signal that you're running a smooth, modern, and trustworthy operation. When you present yourself as professional and reliable, word of mouth and repeat bookings naturally follow. And this is something we've seen in the data from our schools that have kind of taken on board, and it will be similar across other people who take on any element of automation or apps. Not only do they see an increase often in repeat bookings, but they will also see an increase in the ability to charge more, because people are willing to pay that premium for an experience. So oftentimes they can kind of offset any cost of an app to the end user without actually diminishing their overall learner numbers. And at the end of the day, apps and automation are about working smarter, not harder. So offloading all these administrative chores to software means you can focus entirely on delivering great lessons. And that focus shows up in your student reviews and retention. And that's what we see, certainly in our business, on a day-to-day basis. And when your processes are smooth and stress-free, it's easier to take on more pupils. It's easier to boost your revenue. It's easier to focus on, okay, how do I push Facebook? How do I push social media? It just gives you the time back to, again, help grow your brand and grow your business. It's not just only about your processes, it's about enhancing that customer experience as well. So that's pretty much the majority of the session in terms of what we wanted to get across today. Is there any real questions on that? I'll go into a little bit about kind of what we do and some of the kind of free trials that are out there and things like that for you guys. But are there any burning questions, anything that's come up in the chat that you think is worth highlighting?
Yeah, so just a comment really from Corinne. She said that where is it? Really like the idea of being able to keep a record of pupils' progress in a way that they and their parents can see it. Currently keep my own notes, which I share with my pupils in the car and encourage them to do their own reflections, but few of them do. Yeah,
Sure,
that's
yeah, and
quite common.
that's the thing as well. I think just to jump in there, it's really common
Mm,
um for ADIs to have the best of intentions and have systems in place almost that are manual, that do feel a bit more like they're trying to engage with learners. But what we find more and more each day is learners are just less willing to engage if it's not on a digital platform. And that's what all this is about. It's about meeting them where they are, and that
yeah.
helps bring up that engagement. That helps, make them more interested and give them a vested interest in their lessons.
Bob's asked, so for those people out there who perhaps not quite so tech savvy or not so confident with using apps or setting them up, and like you say, spending those few minutes just downloading it, having a poke around, and seeing what it's like, getting used to it. If you're not so confident with that, is there any sort of support that you or that anyone would offer?
Absolutely. So in terms of, obviously I can speak about GoRoadie a little bit, but in terms of if you're looking at, QuickBooks or a Google form or any sort of element that you're just looking to sharpen or enhance some element of your business, YouTube is your friend. So you can go onto YouTube,
Mm,
type in any sort of tutorial, and you will doubtless get someone that knows what they're talking about and will bring it up there. I know for us at GoRoadie, obviously, as the head of customer support, this is my bread and butter. My bread and butter is taking people from, paper and pens to digital formats. And I think it's a really, really common theme that we hear is people just, again, have a little bit of trepidation about it. But one thing that I would always recommend, and again, to jump back to what I was saying before about picking the right tool that's right for you, is you need to judge it based on how tech savvy you are and how easy it is to get set up in the first place. If you're not someone who uses a lot of tech, then you'll probably want the app that's easiest to use. You might want to start with something quite simple. And that's kind of why we built GoRoadie first. And the way we've built it is all about, I suppose, the flow of what your learners experience and just the journey that you do day to day. So there's not a lot of jumping around apps. And what I would say is there's a lot of apps out there that offer lots and lots of features and lots of really, really bespoke features that can help enhance things, but that's not always right for everybody. A lot of the time, you just want something that's really quick, really simple, works offline, is not going to break down, is not going to go wrong, and that's what we find is really important to people. So, but again, do your research. Free trials are out there. You can run concurrent systems and things and pick the one that's best for you. Um, and the barrier of entry again to these things is so low. But
mm,
try and give yourself the time to properly research and learn. I know that I get calls, every day, and I always reach out to any new people that download our app as well. And I try my best to reach out to most people. We can offer free demos and things like that as well, and we obviously
okay,
have
that's
resources
good.
on the page. So
Yeah,
yeah, there's
lovely.
plenty of resources out there for you.
And some bit of help and support for people. Yeah, lovely. Does the app allow you to record what you've done in the lesson where you've been? Can it be customized? So you get these fitness tracker apps that you can, press start and it record where you've walked and all the
Sure.
rest
So
of it.
like a route tracker. So funnily enough,
Kind
that's
of,
something that
yeah.
yeah, so that's something that's on our roadmap for sure. I think one of the things that we get around that is a little bit about I suppose to flip it on its head is a little bit about security and protecting your brand as well. So
Mm,
one of the features that we have built in as being released soon is about reviews and making sure that pupils can, for instance, do reviews on lessons there. So that stops reviews going to public platforms. You can get that review straight away. But route tracking as well within that is also really key because more and more we see parents want to see what their children have done or what their learners have done on lessons. And
mhm.
again, learners want to do that. They might want to replicate it if they're going out with mum and dad in the car as well and doing some off the side teaching. They might want to replicate that route and do the same one again. So yeah, that's a really key feature that's been brought to us before and is definitely on our roadmap.
Yeah. Okay, lovely. Martin's asked, it's one thing sort of moving from a paper to an app, but how easy is it to migrate existing records held in one app to another app?
Sure, yeah. I think that's a really, really important point. There's two ways that we can handle things. So, for larger schools and for things like that, we can do the imports to move things across, and I think a lot of apps will be similar. Um, but more often than not, what we would always suggest is any new students who book, start them on the platform, and then kind of build it up slowly, and you'll just find that you might have to work with a concurrent system for a little while, a couple of weeks, but actually eventually you'll just have all your pupils on one platform. That's one way to do it. But to go into a bit more granular detail, I probably think it takes about 15 to 20 seconds to add a pupil to the app, to our app specifically. So it's literally like 3 or 4 taps. And the great thing is you can manage all this through our inquiry manager piece. So if you just send a link out to pupils, for example, then they can do all the hard work for you. They can fill in all the details, and then that means they're on the app. And all you need to do then is add lessons. And the good thing is you can add, previous test data if you want to track where your test results were for the past year. You could add all that data in there as well. So even if you're starting from scratch halfway through the year, you're not necessarily at a disadvantage. You might need to do half an hour of work to get everyone set up and make sure it's all there. But from then it's super simple and super slick and smooth. And we can
Yeah,
certainly manage a lot of that legwork for you.
that's great. Okay, that's lovely. Okay, Bob, I know you've come back about the YouTube, the clips, and like the help with people who need a little bit more guidance on these things.
Yeah, that's a
You've
really
raised a
good
good
point though.
it's raised a good point.
Definitely,
And
yeah.
I'm gonna take that your points away, Bob, and have a little think about that, and see if there's anything that we can do further,
I think that is a really
to
good
help.
point though, Bob. I think
Yeah.
one of the things, and that's why I really do try and reach out, and we've got a team that tries to reach out to people who have either just downloaded the app, even if we don't get them, we'll leave a voicemail and things. And um, I spend a lot of my time just doing one-on-one demos. So literally I'll jump on a Zoom call with somebody, talk them through how to add their first pupil, talk them through what the processes is, because not only that, that's all really valuable time for me as
Mm.
kind of head of customer success and support, because I find out a lot more about the bugbears that you have in your own processes that you're currently doing. And that helps develop our app for the future, because again, every feature that we've built specifically in our company has been built off the back of instructor feedback and with instructors in mind. So wherever we can, we try and jump on, a little bit more personal call and, spend 10, 15 minutes doing a quick one-on-one demo. Because once you get up and running in these things, it's a lot easier to get started if you just have that helping hand initially. So it's a
Yeah.
really good point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, thank you, Bob, for raising that. We'll look into that a bit more. So yeah, Gordon says great that it shows you your key indicators for all your standard checks. So things like that. Andy, you'd like to know, is there a particular link? So I've got things over the screen at the moment, for how to sign up for this. And
Yeah,
the
so I mean, it's so I'll just go into a little bit more detail, I suppose, about us. But there's lots of other products out there, but we specifically go to GoRoadie.com/pro. You can navigate to GoRoadie Pro as the app, I suppose, that we have, the tool that we use for instructors. We are usually £15 a month, so that's a flat fee. But the first 20 new DIA members who sign up after this call will receive a reduction, so they'll get it for £12 a month for the first year. But the main thing is you get a 2-month free trial with that, so you can start that whenever you like. And it gives you 60 days, which is a good amount of time to really familiarize yourself with the app. And again, we are really, really focused on customer support. So if there's anything you're not understanding, you need a little bit of help, whether it's a really small question or something in terms of a feature request, then you can reach out to us at support@GoRoadie, and all the links are there within the app as well. And we will do our best to field those questions and give a bit more of a personalized service and a one-on-one demo.
so
So yeah, so the link for us specifically is GoRoadie.com, and /pro is the app to download. Again, there's nothing really stopping you trying these things, but again, there's lots of other smaller kind of areas that we've discussed today that you can help automate as well.
yeah, okay. I think that's we've gone through everyone's comments and questions and raised those. There's some really
Cool.
good interaction from people. Oh, a couple more coming in. So Dev said, is it free for PDIs until we qualify? Do you
Yep.
have anything like that for? Oh, is that a feature? That wasn't something I was aware of. Or is
So
it?
yeah, so if PDIs use the app for free until they qualify. So until you turn in
Okay.
an ADI and get your level 3, then you just use the app for free as long as you're a PDI.
Cool. Look at that. That's a good service.
And again, we
Okay.
really started that because again the whole app was about, you know, like I say, we started as a referral service, but the whole app piece was about trying to support the industry and just kind of make it more modern. And I think PDIs giving them a really good foot in the door is a really big part of that. So
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay. Is it free for pupils to use? Anthony's asked.
yeah, so essentially again it works the same on most platforms. So with us, you have an instructor app and a concurrent pupil app, and obviously that's completely free for them to download and use as well. So that helps link when you fill something in or you do a progress tracker on your instructor app, it's automatically linked and updated with that pupil app as well.
Brilliant. There we go. Okay. So we have gone through all the questions so far. I think
Great.
you've answered everyone's inquiries and concerns. So that's really good. I think that's it for, unless anyone's got any other. Davinder says already downloading. They're downloading it already. Terry, many thanks for the session.
Thanks, Terry.
Yeah, brilliant. So thank you, Campbell, for such an interesting insight into GoRoadie, what it can do, answering all those really key questions that people have asked. That's really good. And thank you everyone for asking your questions. That's great. So yeah, all the information is on there. Go to the GoRoadie.com website and yeah, have fun. Enjoy your free trial if you're a PDI. And as you said, the first 20 that sign up, DI members that sign up, you can get a discount. I think that was
Yeah, and if
yeah.
absolutely, and if there's any more questions or anything comes up at all, you can always reach out to support at GoRoadie. But the website gives you lots of a bit more information about what we do specifically and things. But again, if there's any questions, I'm more than happy to jump on a call or go into a little bit more detail with people if they're interested.
Yeah.
But let's hope everyone gets tech savvy. That's the main thing.
That's it. I mean, that's it. Bob said, how do I get the discount? That's one last question.
Sure, it'll be automatically applied. So we basically ask the question afterwards, and then it's automatically applied at on your part as part of your first subscription. So obviously everyone will get that 2-month free trial, and then we automatically apply after that.
Yeah. Okay. That's lovely. Right. Thanks for that last question, Bob. And yeah, so I think we'll wrap the session up. And thank you very much for your time, Campbell. It's been really
Perfect. Thank you so much, Livia. Yep.
And thank you everyone for attending. And I think lots of people are, they put lots of comments on them downloading it now. So I think you'll get a few more customers and hopefully
Cool.
make everyone's
busy day.
And make everyone's life a little bit easier, hopefully, as well, to deal with their business. Okay.
Cool.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Okay, that's great. Thank you so much,
Bye.
guys. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.